Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Nonprofit Organizations on LinkedIn Beyond the Personal Profile, featuring Mark Halpert of Connect to Collaborate. This webinar is the second of a two-part series that will help you to better optimize LinkedIn to support your nonprofit. The Cornerstone On Demand Foundation is excited to sponsor this presentation, and we thank you for attending. Before we begin, though, a few housekeeping items. To reduce background noise, all lines have been muted. Please note that there is a chat box located at the middle right-hand side of your screen. Please feel free to submit your questions at any time through this chat box, as we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Now, before I hand it over to our presenter, I'd like to take a brief moment to introduce you to myself and the Cornerstone On Demand Foundation as the host of this presentation. My name is Justin Waddell, and I work with the Nonprofit Empowerment Program of the Foundation, which was launched in 2009 in an effort to provide learning and talent management technology and pro bono HR consulting services to the nonprofit sector, both domestically and abroad. Next slide, please. Today's webinar is part of our nonprofitready.org webinar series, designed to provide expertise and best practices related to talent management and organizational development for nonprofit leaders. For those not yet familiar, nonprofitready.org is the Cornerstone On Demand Foundation's free professional development portal for nonprofits. In addition to housing all of the Foundation's webinars, nonprofitready.org contains an extensive library of learning resources designed to help advance your nonprofit career and increase your impact within the community. Today's session will be posted to nonprofitready.org within 24 hours. You will receive a follow-up email with a link to this resource. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Mark Halpert. Thank you again for sharing your expertise today, Mark. I'll pass it over to you.
My pleasure, Justin. Thanks so much. For those of you who were on the session last week, a question came up at the end, and I just want to cover that off. I didn't have an exact answer for it because I got, frankly, a little waylaid. LinkedIn is now operating basically under two different versions. Some of you have the new version, some of you have the old version. When I was showing this slide, I was showing you how to look and see which of your LinkedIn share updates that you share is resonating with people in your first, second, and third degree connections. And this is no longer available on the new version. So I just wanted to just clear that out. It's for those of you who are still in the old version, you can get some information from it, but count on this disappearing. The new version will be universally available very, very soon to everybody. Okay, what we're going to do today, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've talked last week about how to make yourself look absolutely amazing. Now we're going to show you a little bit about how to make your organization look amazing. Then we're going to help you even improve your outreach to groups, and then how to search for volunteers, corporate sponsors, search for anybody or anything you're looking for at the time in the LinkedIn search, advanced search that I'm going to show you, and then time allowing, and I tend to doubt it, folks, because I have a lot to say this time, questions on how do you do this, that, or the other. So forgive me if we don't get to the questions at the end. If you do have questions, I would encourage you to seek me out on LinkedIn, and you can send me a message, and I'd be happy to help you any way I can, but it is not intended to be consulting. It's intended to answer some quick questions. All right, the goal. As we said last time, the goal is to reinforce your brand. The goal for today's session is to reinforce your own organization's brand, simultaneously improving your own brand. Like a chain, any weak link in the chain makes the whole chain weaker. We want everybody in the organization, every individual, to have a great personal profile. That was last session. This session we're going to talk about, and I'm going to focus on two separate nonprofit organizations who have very good LinkedIn profiles, company profiles. It's called a company profile for lack of any other term, but you can just substitute the word your nonprofit in there. So we're going to help you brand the organization better and simultaneously everybody in it from last time. I showed this slide last time with just the left half of it. We want you certainly to be showing YU, but we also want you, if you are speaking right now, if you don't mind putting your phone on mute, that would be *6. Thank you. We want your organization also to be standing out from the crowd in every way. So as we did last week, we'll talk about yellow guy things that are the right ways to do things, and blue guy things, which are the way everybody else does it and gets lost in the crowd. So both you and your organization need to step out from the competition and you do compete with other nonprofits, simultaneously both you and your organization will look amazing. So back to the why and how. Why do you do what you do in your organization? How do you do what you do in your organization? Not who your organization is. That's okay for your website. Not what your organization does. That's also okay for your website. You have an opportunity now to go beyond the website, speak to the business community, and explain higher level thought, why your organization does what it does, and how it is actively improving the world. Let's look at one nonprofit that is using company profile pages very, very well. That's CUCS, the Center for Urban Community Services. I know Max from CUCS is listening in, so thank you, Max, for your help in getting this ready. How you find your organization or other organizations, you go to the top of your LinkedIn page, you scroll down or hit that box that's highlighted in red, and you will get a drop-down, and you scroll down to companies, and then type in the name of the company you're looking for. As you're typing dynamically, everything that looks or matches the search that you're doing will pop up, and in this case, CUCS pops up right away. So when you click on the company profile page for CUCS, here's their page. They're very, very dominant in using their logo. It's a great logo. It makes you very much aware. And they've done a very good job of writing about their organization, different language from their website. They've very smartly decided that the description of what their organization does should be tailored to the business community, different than what goes on their website, which is tailored to anybody who happens to come by. So they work very well within the confines of the space they have to describe their nonprofit. They use search engine optimization keywords throughout, and I especially like the fact that they have a specialty section. You see that right at the very bottom of the description. The specialty section is a good place to get found in a search. And remember what we said last time, LinkedIn is a search engine at the end of the day of 347 million records and people that are on LinkedIn, and now millions of organizations and companies that are on LinkedIn. So it allows you to be searched out not only by your name, but also by the services or the SEO keywords you happen to put throughout the specialty section there. So use that space and use it well. Figure out what your SEO keywords are. And then there's also a very easy click-through to the website or how to contact them, where they're located. I always say it's a good idea right after where you're located to just skip a line and put your phone number there. Make it easy for somebody to get a hold of you. Make it simple so that they can find you in the way that's easiest for them. As I look at CUCS's company profile page on the top right, I see how I'm connected to them. I have one first-degree connection. That's Max. Max and I agreed to connect on LinkedIn. We share that privilege. I have 20 second-degree connections and 240 other people that work for CUCS that I do not have contact with. That's okay. At the top right of this, you see there are 890 people have agreed to follow CUCS on LinkedIn. I would encourage you to get as many followers of your company profile page as possible. It gives you another avenue to disseminate information, a news release, and a web, some sort of event that you're having, and I'll show you some examples of that. Have your board members and your employees all add the company profile to their personal profile, and so that the logo of your organization appears on their personal profiles as well. And brand recognition of your logo is so important these days, and it really helps get a lot more awareness. So here's Max, just a piece of his personal profile page. And you see in the red, he has already used the company profile logo and connected himself to the company profile page. So any reader of Max's profile, whether it's on his personal or his public profile on LinkedIn, can be directed to the CUCS company profile page simply by clicking the logo. It's that quick and that easy. Max's profile speaks of the brand of Max as well as the brand of CUCS, And the CUCS brand speaks about its brand as well as all the good people that work there as those contributing to the work they're doing. So these things go hand in hand. They should be seen as an opportunity to direct your mission to the people who are reading the organization's company profile page, but also in terms of the language and the way the individuals express themselves. It's very important in the experience section for each person who works for your organization that they explain why they make a difference in the organization, how they make a difference in the organization, and thus to your constituencies that you serve. So think very carefully about what is being said throughout LinkedIn about your organization, both by yourself in the organization and by the organization's company profile page. I can't stress that enough. These are a lot of some of the updates that we have from CUCS. They are continuously updating with news, which is great. They are adding good, nice-looking graphics and connecting you to other websites. That's good for everybody's search engine optimization. They are keeping the reader and the followers all get these as they're posted. They're keeping the reader up to date in the activity level that CUCS has. That's important. It's public information. It's human interest stories. Don't be afraid of talking about your successes, the grants that you've earned, whatever it is that makes you differentiate yourself from everybody else. It's also a good place to thank people or acknowledge people for things that they've done that are above and beyond, or thank other organizations that they've done that are above and beyond. They're having a job fair, or they had a job fair not too long ago in New York, and they talked about it, and they actually had somebody like their posting on the company profile page. And what's good about Ms. Castillo's, I assume Ms. Castillo's, liking their posting on their company profile page is that it appeared on her personal profile, and it appeared on everybody she's connected to, seeing that she liked that. So if you click on their graphic of their job fair, it opens up this news release that they posted. And you see on this news release, they've also very smartly added click-throughs to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, LinkedIn, you name it, it's in there. Very smartly done. It keeps the social media buzzing about how active and what your organization is doing on a regular basis. So this is a great way to get people aware, and when you get people to voluntarily like or share or comment on your profile updates for the organization, that makes it move around in a much more fluid way. You get a lot more notoriety that way, and that's a good thing. Here's a wonderful one that they did, and the reason I like it is they're using video. And I think I made the point last time that video is worth a million words. You can click on this video and in a very brief amount of time get a very good sense what the executive director is thinking and how he has gotten a lot of press on this. So use YouTube. YouTube's click and connect very nicely into LinkedIn. Be sure that your YouTubes are short. If you need to have them edited, have them professionally edited. Keep them down to hopefully below 3 minutes. It's about the attention span of most people and beyond the attention span of most people. And you see what happens with this video? More people liked it than just a verbal video. Now, this is not just isolated, folks. People like to watch video. They remember video much better than just what they read. So when people like it, again, these 3 people, it went not only to their personal profiles that they like what CUCS is doing, but everybody they're connected to got to see that too. So it creates conversation. Use video smartly and well, and it will serve you very, very handily. Another organization that I like for their use of the company profile page is the Waveney Life Care Network here in Connecticut. They don't just use their logo. They use a very pleasant to look at graphic at the top, which is superimposed behind their logo. If you go there, you see these paintings. These are commissioned. These are nice, pleasant pieces of art that show their organization at work. It sets a great tone. It's a friendly place. The description is very good. It's short, but it gives a good sense for the parameters of what they do. Full of keywords. Love the keywords in there. Love the specialties. They went and they added a lot of specialty keywords there. Good use of the ability to be searched out because they realize they compete with other organizations that provide the same services. And again, a good, easy click-through to their website. It gives you an idea of how big they are. It's just a nice-looking first page to land on. Picking a couple of their events that are going on, they just recently had, I think last night, a frauds and scam workshop, and they actually had the TV, this local TV station there, and they even posted that today on their company profile page that the local TV station came, and here you can see it off as a video. So their update, which is the backmost part of this slide, is just the update. And if you click on the graphic, and it's a nice-looking graphic, you can see a larger version of the graphic, which is what I've superimposed over top of it. So good job there. Hopefully it helped generate a good attendance. It allows people to share, hey, I'm going, are you going? Hey, this is something you might be interested in. It's something everyone should be interested in my opinion. So they push that out in a very, very effective way. They are working on a campaign right now to find registered nurses in the area, and as everybody knows, it's hard to source nursing assistants these days. They are paying for advertisements on LinkedIn, a budget of $30 a day. You see on the bottom left, they're running it for just a few days. They have used this very effectively as a very inexpensive way of getting some advertisement out there to source new talent. Now, you probably don't want to do this for volunteers, but if you are hiring people, this is a very economic and very powerful way to approach professionals who are engaged on LinkedIn. So they can look at their audience. They can decide where do we want them to be located. What are titles that we're searching for? What gender do we want? In this case, they chose a specific gender. How wide an audience do we want? And you can tailor these searches very, very smartly on LinkedIn, where you create the advertisement on the bottom right to generate the interest, and hopefully you will find candidates that you might never have found. And even if they don't pan out to be employees, they're now aware of your organization, the good work your organization does. Hopefully they become hirees that you can actually put to work right away. And you found it through LinkedIn in a very economic and intelligent, targeted way. This is, again, a little bit more information. It gives you an idea of the click-through rate that actually occurred on this advertisement. And bravo to them. They got high engagement, and anything that is over 1% these days is excellent. So they're 0.5% over. That should be considered a good home run for them. The more click-throughs, the more engagement you get, the better you are. The more you know the advertisement you've crafted is resonating and hitting that nerve. Then you get a number of different opportunities, depending upon your budget, to recraft the advertisement to make it as good or as specific as you're looking for it to be, and to get that engagement that you're looking for. So good job there, folks. I want to, Kristen Sinatra, who's my colleague over there, their marketing manager, director of marketing, gave me this quote. LinkedIn gives nonprofit marketers like her a bigger megaphone in speaking to prospective peers and partners through the professional community. A louder voice, the ability to pinpoint and target the audience with laser-like precision. So not only is she doing a really good job with the advertisements, but she's seeing the successes here. Just a little bit of her contact information. Every email that she ever sends out, including the ones I receive, have this signature at the bottom. And it's very smartly crafted. It shows the logo of the organization, the awards that it has won, the ways to contact her on social media, and the second one is LinkedIn. And so she is the master of keeping people involved and motivated to keep in touch with her and her organization. That's what she's hired to do, and that's a great job. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a segue away from company profile pages, and we're going to talk about how to go out and find groups and find people within groups. Now, the reason I'm taking this segue is that you can define groups on LinkedIn as new connections of like-minded individuals. So rather than scouring the entire 347 million people on LinkedIn, you can prospect within a narrowly focused group. Now, groups are of all different sizes and all different interests. An alumni group is going to be narrowly focused of just your alums from your college or your university. But if you go into certain other groups, they can be very, very specific, very, very focused. I'll show you an example in just 1 second. So we want you to start looking at groups as an opportunity to find like-minded individuals. Join as many groups that make sense to you, but make sense to you and contribute to the group. Don't be a wallflower. Wallflowers are left behind. Get involved in the group. Update the group with news that you have to share that is pertinent and relevant to the group. If you're going to give a webinar, if you've just published a report, if you've won an award, if your organization has been somehow awarded or notified of something, that's a good thing to put in the group. People will want to know. They want to emulate success. You can also create your own special group. I have my own group of clients. There are groups that I'm involved in where we are peers and we advise each other, or are confidants. That's the confidant group that you see is a really valuable subgroup, allows you to communicate privately with the people in that group, and privately and effectively. I've seen nonprofits that have created special groups within the organization's group page just of board members, or of a subgroup on a task force. Say you're having a gala and you have people all over the country, all over the metro area, and you want to be able to speak to them all together all at once. Well, you can create a gala task force subgroup within a LinkedIn group tied to your organization, and only the people on the task force can see what goes on in that little subgroup. So think of this as another opportunity to be efficient and to be effective. Groups come in two flavors, shall we say. Open groups, for such example as Linked Strategy. It's open to everybody who wants to join. Or closed groups, and those are the ones with the closed locks that I have highlighted with the red boxes. Closed groups can differentiate themselves in different ways. The one, nonprofit professionals, on the bottom is clearly people who are professionals in the nonprofit universe. They cannot be people in the for-profit universe. That is the closure, the differentiator that makes it a closed group. So open group is open to anybody, and once you start differentiating and the manager of the group has to allow somebody into the group, into a closed group, based upon certain criteria or based upon certain credentialing, that becomes what makes it a closed group. And a closed group is no better than the group moderator or group owner who is aware and on top of allowing the right people into the group. That is a very, very important aspect of running a group, and that is part of the responsibility. So if you want to find some relevant groups, say, for example, you're searching for nonprofit professionals, and you can, I showed you how to look for companies a moment ago when we were searching for CUCS. You can use that same drop-down and look for groups and type in nonprofit professionals, and Nonprofit Professionals Forum might be one that pops in there as meeting the criteria you're searching for. Then when I click on Nonprofit Professionals Forum as a selection, I see that A, it's a closed group. It says that it's a private group. Is to request the membership, the owner, Tamara Reed Tron, has to allow me in. I will make a request to join the group, and she will look at my credentials to see if I fit the needs, fit the requirements of the group. Then you get, once you join the group, you get more information. Before you join the group, you may want to differentiate between several nonprofit professionals groups, and this is how you make that analytics-based decision, is this the right group for me? Now, this is here. It's available to you. It's just very well hidden. On every group at the top right corner, you will see a little gear. That gear means that there's something in there. That's the analytics. Click the gear, and the next screen you'll see will be this dark gray box. Click the words group statistics, and I'm going to walk you through the statistics for the Nonprofit Professionals Forum and decide if this is the right group for you to join. If it is, join it. Request to join it because it is a closed group. You have to be approved. Or if it's not, move on and find another group that's more appropriate for you. So the first thing we see here has almost 23,000 members. It's been around for about 7 years. I see these little pictures on the bottom. These are the people that I am first level connected to. I recognize those pictures. I know that several of them, if not certainly all of them, are my peers and my colleagues, and they are in this group. That might be a good time for me to call up Jeff and say, hey, Jeff, tell me about this group. Do you find it useful? Or make it part of my conversation the next time I see him, and get a sense for if this is a group. If he says a group he likes. If he doesn't like the group, I move on. If he likes a group for a specific purpose, he's given me very good inside information. When you click that group statistics that's highlighted in red, you will get the ability to look at 4 different screens. The first screen is the one towards the back. It is a summary screen. It allows you to see that there are 22,000 people. They had 11 comments last week, what the degree of seniority is, and where they're located. Well, I don't spend a lot of time there. I want better information. So I scan across. I'm looking at the demographics of the members of the group. Well, 18% is senior level. That's good. And if you look at the seniority subframe that you see there, 18% are senior, 17% are director, and then 12% are owners, 10% are managers, and then there's CXOs. That adds up to a pretty senior level group. That's probably going to have the conversation level that I'm looking for this specific purpose. So that's one way to get a sense for how senior, who makes up the group, what are they all about, what level of conversation are they having. Moving on to the third and the fourth boxes that give you the analytics, who's promoting something? How are they growing? What's going on? How many new members are they getting? That type of thing is important. And you can see that it's a bit hidden, and I apologize for that, but that bottom blue almost slope shows me that they're growing steadily. That's an important thing for me to know. And then the last box on the bottom right, of the members, there were 11 comments last week, 52 discussions last week, 2 jobs were posted, and 7 people were promoting something or other. So that tells me a lot of good activities going in there. And in that orange and blue graph that you see there, you can mouse over various points in time and see if there's a seniority, if there's a seasonality in conversations in the group, what was going on in that group. Comments and discussions are important because this is a conversation place where like-minded people have conversations, where you can find out how do you do something that you're not aware of, who's had success doing something that you need a little help with. And it's perfectly acceptable, no matter what your seniority level is, to ask for help because like-minded people want to help you. Once you join the group, you are given the opportunity to decide how frequently do you want to hear from the group. So I hope you can see my mouse, but I do not check this because that means I'm going to get an email every time somebody posts something to the group. What I do is I post here, and I decide whether I want to start with a weekly digest or a daily digest of what's going on in the group. I usually start with weekly. I watch a group for about a week to see what's going on. I'll get it all aggregated in a large email that tells me what's happening. If the conversation's really good, then I might switch it on to daily digest. So about the end of the day, about 4:45 in the afternoon, I start getting emails in my email box telling me that the activity for the day has been thus. Now, word to the wise, and I skipped over this accidentally, you can use a separate email box different than the one that you have tied to LinkedIn for your group communication. So this group conversation email that you select does not start gumming up your email box. So in this case, it's a different email box that I'm using for group conversations. So what do you do in a group? Well, you tap into the expertise. The expertise of the group is very, very deep, assuming you've chosen the right group. I've given you the analytics and the tools to choose the right group that makes sense. Not every group is going to be right for you, but try some questions to the group. Hey, has anybody ever had to tackle a situation such as this? Who's had success in this type of thing? And you can put some background information there. So you're adding detail to get good answers. Ask a question which no one's really asked recently. You can see the history of the questions that have been asked, and there's even a search box in a group. So you can see on topic basis what's been asked or what's been discussed recently. And if somebody answers a question for you and through the group, and you look at their profile and you think that they're really a good person that you want to talk to, you can in-mail them, or you can figure out how to email them and say, great, thank you so much, and always thank people for helping you. Thank you for answering the question. Let's take this conversation offline. Let's make a phone call. You never know where the conversation goes. Conversation by phone is still a valid way of the Q&A and the additive process of being able to ask somebody more questions. You are not bothering them. You can ask them when is the best time to speak to you, and you can certainly gain a new valued connection. I know I have. Many of the people that continuously help me are people I've met through groups. These are ways to meet people and to get information and find an entourage around you that you might not normally have. Again, we talked about subgroups. This is where you would form a subgroup. It's off on the left-hand side in your groups page. And a subgroup is by definition a closed group of just people who are asked to join the subgroup. They can simultaneously be members of the group as well as a subgroup, and they can even be non-members of the group, but only in the subgroup. It's all by invitation. And folks, there's one other way you can add people to groups, and that it's to subgroups. You can, if they're not on LinkedIn, and not everybody is yet, you can ask them to be part of this by emailing them and then urging them to join LinkedIn. So you can bring them in to show them a way that they can benefit from using LinkedIn. All right, let's say you want to do an advanced search and you want to look for an individual, or you want to look for a group of individuals. Well, here's the way that you do it. Again, LinkedIn is a giant search engine. Use it wisely, and it will provide amazing information for you. Now, I always tell my colleagues and my clients and my trainees, don't use the regular search. That regular search is that white box search for people, jobs, companies, and more. Don't waste your time. Click on the word advanced, and we'll open up a very robust area to choose more criteria to search for somebody or something. This is what your advanced search looks like. You have 3 columns. I'll start at the left. You have a keyword box in the left-hand column. I'm telling you, keywords are important. It's a great way to find everybody involved in whatever you're looking for, that are using keywords in their profiles, we said last week, in their headline, in their summary, and in their experience. You can search for people with a certain first name, certain last name, and really any combination of these. Anybody who has a certain title at a certain organization or company, went to a certain school, located in or near a radius of a zip code. That's your left-hand column. For most circumstances, that's enough. Many circumstances require you to search more. So you want to then further refine the search. Do you want them to you want their search results to just give you your first level connections, your second level and first level connections, groups, or just everybody on LinkedIn? It depends upon what you're searching for. Where do they work? What industry are they in? Did they ever work at a company, a certain other company in the past? What languages do they speak? Are they fluent in? That's your middle section. The right-hand column is for people who either pay for LinkedIn or are going to get off of this webinar and go to the next webinar immediately after that. I'll give you the credentialing for that, where Board Connect can be given to your organization, to one individual in that organization, so that when you're searching for board members, you have the power of every aspect of advanced search, the ones that recruiters and headhunters are using and spending a lot of money. It's only for one nonprofit, it's only for one person in each nonprofit. They do evaluate everybody who gets it. They cannot give 2 subscriptions to a person in the same nonprofit. So if you're trying to think of who's the best person in your organization to get this subscription to Board Connect, it should be the one with the deepest group of connections, not the most necessarily, but the highest quality. And that is always a volleyball. You got to toss that one around and figure out who's going to get that subscription. So if you're doing a search, as I did a while ago, for a corporate colleague, and it's the best example I still have that gave us a lot of results. He said he wanted just graduates of Rutgers University in accounting within a 25-mile radius of his postal code 08807. And that's what we searched for, and we came up with 381 results. Well, that's too many. So let's start narrowing that down, and that's that arrow at the top right. You start narrowing it down. Do you want to take out group members and just make it first and second connections? That will reduce down the candidates. You may lose great candidates you're not aware of, but it's another way to make this a bit more granular type of search. And you keep playing with this until you get a smaller group of highly credentialed candidates. Now, in any search, one thing LinkedIn does is it provides you a stack ranking of the search results. Your first level search results, your first level connections are at the top of all search results. So that's a gift to you because you may have a well-regarded connection, but you didn't realize he or she went to Rutgers. You knew they were an accountant, but you didn't know that they lived within 25 miles of that postal code. Suddenly you're able to focus in on much better people that you know well, hopefully you know well, that you can put forward. In this case, it was as a job applicant, or they may not be interested. Maybe they know other good people. So asking good people who they know that are good people provides you with a better reach. Any search is going to be different by the person. Mine is different than yours will be because I'm connected to different people than you are. You must be in your LinkedIn account so that your search results are tailored just to your connections. The better quality first-degree connections you have, the better your search results will be able to help you. And then you can always keep refining it. But here's the gift. Here's what's so amazing. You can save your searches, and you can tell LinkedIn, I want that search to be updated every week or every month as new people come in, they refine their profiles, they have different credentials, new people join LinkedIn. They're qualifying for the search, and LinkedIn will send you a message, not only through LinkedIn, but an email to you, hey, you've had 3 new people who qualify for that search called Rutgers 25 miles 08807. And that allows you then to hone in on who came in that's new and potentially be another alternative candidate. So choose whether you want, put it on autopilot. Choose whether you want autopilot to go weekly or monthly. That's huge. And you can have 3 of these searches, if you don't pay for LinkedIn, going at any time, and more if you have Board Connect. So then another reason for you to get Board Connect in your organization. People might search for you, so we're flipping this over. Do you tell the right industry? Have you filled in your LinkedIn profile completely? Are you using the right keywords? If fundraising is one of the keywords that you want to show in your LinkedIn profile, in your headline, in your summary, in your experience, you will be part of this LinkedIn search because whoever's seeking you out, you're going to appear as their first or second level or group member connection. So this is why I keep hammering the fact that your search is predicated on having a great personal profile and having the right search keywords in your own personal profile. You can be searched and you can be found for many, many reasons, and you will be approached by people, and it's always fascinating to ask them specifically, how did you find me? Know what works. Research, get information from people about how they found you and why they found you using the terms that they did for search. Now, talent within groups is also available to you. So I showed you how to find groups. I showed you how to find people. I showed you how to find lots of things here. But here's another way to mine a group. You're in a similar interest group, everybody's involved in fundraising in New Jersey in this specific closed group. I want to know everybody who ever had experience at a YMCA. Maybe I'm looking as a YMCA to fill a slot. Maybe I like the experience people might have had from a YMCA to fill a slot. It could be transferable experiences. And so in doing this, of the 609 members of the New Jersey chapter of AFP, 25 people somewhere in their profile mentioned YMCA. It came down to a much more refined search. So it gives me a lot of information. So there's another way that you can use the database that LinkedIn ultimately is to find different people in different ways with experience in places that you're looking for. That will help you that'll help you fill the need of whatever you're trying to find. Geez, how'd that happen? Sorry, my antivirus kicked in. That was odd. Okay. So I've given you a lot of ideas. I've spoken to you now for an hour and 41 minutes. Don't lose your marbles. The best way to do the best work on LinkedIn is to nip away a little bit at a time. I like to say it's like the first time you sat down to learn how to use Word or you learned how to use PowerPoint. You didn't just jump in and just do it all in one session. You learned additively, and that's how we learn best. And the wonderful thing about LinkedIn is it gets better every time. Every iteration gives you more power. Sometimes they take things away, as I said earlier on. They take it away because their research tells them people aren't using it. I happen to be the guy who's using it. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully those good things come back. But there are so many new things that you can do with LinkedIn that you need to learn. You need to put a stake in the sand and say, okay, I'm going to start learning this 15 minutes a day, half an hour a day, twice a week, whatever it is that works for you in your schedule. I have a time during every day that I do this, that I work hardest on LinkedIn. Working on it all during the day from time to time as needed, but I find segregated, quiet, neutral time for me to work on it at the end of every day. That's what works for me. It may or may not work for you. But find the time and nip away slowly but surely until you've beaten it and you've learned how to master it. So what should you and your organization tell others? Why you stand out from the crowd and why your organization stands out from the crowd. They reflect on each other. Why do you do what you do, and how do you do what you do? Why does your organization do what it does, and how does it do what it does? If you read your personal and your organization's profile and you're not instantly aware of the answers to these questions, you have to go back to the drawing board and rewrite it. And tweaking and retweaking and rewriting is honorable. It means you're refining the message. Branding, which is what we're talking about here, personal and organizational branding, is an iterative process. It is something that is continuously worked on. You need to work on it. You change and your organization changes with time. Be sure that your profiles reflect the latest and greatest about you and your organization. If it doesn't, make the changes now. Make the amendments now. Have an interested but objective third party take a look at your profile and your organization's company profile. Not a board member, not somebody with a vested interest in you or your organization, but somebody who can evaluate what you're saying, critique it honestly. And sometimes it hurts, but often it's for the better. They only want to see you benefit. So find a way to step out from the crowd. Be the yellow guy, because all the other guys behind you that you're competing with individually or as an organization all do a poor job. You're on this webinar to learn how to do a much better job and how to stand out from the crowd. So I've given you tons of ideas here. So I'm going to leave you with 5 tips for nonprofits. Everybody in the organization, from the ED all the way down to the volunteer, and everybody in between. And that's not a pejorative statement. That is a statement that everybody must make their profile and the organization's profile reflect back and forth to each other. EDs are not absent here. In fact, lots of organizations I love working with, the executive director brings everybody together and says, We will all do this as a team, and we will make this work beautifully, and you have my word that we're going to all get in this together. So everybody's in the pool swimming together, everybody all at once. That includes the internal and the external people, the board members, the volunteers. Get them to mention your organization in their LinkedIn profile. Get more eyes on the mission. Build your audience before you need it. There are lots of nonprofits that run into some sort of cause that they want to solve immediately, and then they're scrambling because they need to build the audience. That's too late. You need to build a friendly and sympathetic audience all the time, not only because you'll never know when you'll need it, but your need is consistent and current. So keep telling your audience through LinkedIn and all the other social media that you use why you do what you do and how you do what you do, and it will make people much more apt to pony up a little bit more money at the year-end giving, or to buy an extra seat or an extra table at the gala, or a larger ad in the ad journal, or whatever you're trying to achieve. So build and satisfy and sate that audience before you need them to help you. Never, ever, ever use the default connection requests on LinkedIn. Now, it never ends. It never ceases to amaze me. I'm going to say this, and I get take a lot of flack for this, but somebody out there listening is going to say, oh, I'm going to ask this guy to connect to me, and they're going to send me the default request to connect. Well, I have two rules. One is, if you ask me to connect to you using the default language, you're instantly eliminated. I do not connect to people who appear to me to be lazy and do not give me context as to where they met me and got to know me. The other thing is, if you're listening to my webinar and you may like it and you may find it really helpful, and I always appreciate knowing that, I'm not going to connect to you because I only connect to people I know or have met and have vetted and had coffee with or lunch or dinner with and gotten to know before we do business and even during business. So at least give people the opportunity to know where you came in contact with them, what you like about their profile, how you can help them, because it's really about what you can do for them at the end of the day, not what they can do for you, never ever. And you know that in the nonprofit world. I can't tell you how many times I have to repeat that in the business world. It is a privilege to connect to somebody. Privileges are not handed out cheaply or easily. So anytime you connect to somebody, be yourself. Be personable and be real about what can help you, what you can help them, rather. Go troll the waters for new board members, volunteers, and use the LinkedIn nonprofit educational tools at nonprofits.linkedin.com. It's a tool, it's a vast material place for you to go to and to be involved and get new information. They're continuously upgrading it, and they do a really great job of it. So Board Member Connect is really good for you for getting those board members, finding new board members. The Volunteer Board allows you to post volunteer positions that you have that are available, that are in your geographic area for people who have the credentialing that you're looking for. So I'll show you how to get that in a second. And remember, I told you from last time, you get 5 free postings through LinkedIn. And then create a company profile page, back to where we started here, for your organization, and make it interesting. Don't forget about it. So many organizations go a month or 2 without posting to it. Make a calendar for yourself. And you probably have a social media calendar for Facebook or for Pinterest or whatever else you're doing. Add LinkedIn to it and add different documents that are business professional oriented. Articles that people want to read, news, events, whatever your supporters want to read to follow you. They have to want to be involved with you. That's really, really important. So give them every opportunity not only to follow you, but to buy into what you're doing, to donate their time or their money, to give their expertise to you because you want it and you need it. You need to engage the business community. That's too often forgotten. A few parting thoughts. Again, smartly presented company profile. Keywords. Why you? Why do you do what you do? How do you do what you do? Not only yourself, but your organization. Searchable. Be searchable. Use search. Showcase pages on company profile pages are really important. Some of the ones I showed you that Waveney is using. Get those analytics going. Really vet groups to join. Don't tell me that you joined a group and you never thought it was going to help you and it never really panned out. Don't join a group until you know that it's right for you. And get in that group and participate. That doesn't mean you need to blow it away. It means that you need to watch a little bit, get a sense for what the personality of the group is, and get involved and get help. Or chime in to the question as an answerer. And when you're an answerer, you're helping somebody. The Board Member Connect in the special offer coming up in 1 second. You search smartly and get out there and find top-notch collaborators. My company name is Connect to Collaborate. It came to me as a reason that I do what I do and how I do what I do. I love putting great people together and watching the sparks fly. There's nothing better to me than that. There's nothing better to me than be able to help nonprofits do better, think a little bit more like businesses are using LinkedIn, but also to get more money, get a board member, get an employee that you might not normally have attracted. Okay, so LinkedIn is offering you 2 things, and I want you to know, in 9 minutes, folks, the webinar on the left-hand side of the screen is going to start. This is where you can get Board Connect. Board Connect is the same thing that recruiters use called Talent Finder, 1 person in every nonprofit. You must listen into the webinar in order to get Board Connect. That's a requirement. They have to see that you've participated through the whole thing. So at 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern, you figure out where you are, what time it is, you click on that link and you can get into that webinar, and you will be given the opportunity to use Talent Finder, 1 person in your organization. New topic, you get 5 free volunteer or board postings. As an accommodation, LinkedIn for Good is providing to my giving this webinar. You can email volunteermarketplace@linkedin.com and reference CSOD and tell them that you want to get 5 volunteer postings, and they will send you the instructions on how to post volunteer positions that are open in your organization. I've heard great stuff come from this. It's a gift. Both of these are a gift to you. I hope you will use them wisely. So I want to thank Max and Kristen, each at CUCS and Waveney, and thanks to Justin at CSOD. I've had a good time presenting this. I hope that it's been something that's been really helpful to you. I do have like 8 minutes to open it up for questions. So if there are questions, this is where you can find me. I do this on a regular basis all over the country, really, as it's been all over the world through webinar. Justin, did you have some questions that I can pop up there on the screen?
Yeah, definitely. And as a reminder to everyone, if you have a question, please submit it through the chat box in the middle right-hand side of your screen. One of the first questions that came up was with regards to what is really the purpose for an organization on LinkedIn. This organization in particular uses Twitter and Facebook heavily. Why should they start to build out their presence on LinkedIn instead of really doubling down on those other networks?
Well, you got to consider who your audience is. If you look at the statistics about who the audience is, the high net worth individuals and the highest educational group is in LinkedIn. If you are seeking corporate funding, if you are seeking people for your board, if you are seeking volunteers who have corporate experience and can really put your organization in a different plane, then this is where you want to be. I'm not saying to the exclusion of Facebook or Pinterest or everything else. Each has its correct constituency, its correct demographics. But the demographic you're seeking, if you're looking for business help, is going to be on LinkedIn. Enough said.
Great, thank you. A question, could you really quickly put up the Talent Finder info slide again with the link to today's LinkedIn webinar?
This is his desktop. I can't do anything to this.
It seems like we have someone who's gone
this is him.
mute.
Oh, cool.
If you're looking to get into the Talent Finder, you can go to nonprofit.linkedin.com, and you can look for Board Connect, and if they're still open for signing up for the webinar that occurs in exactly 6 minutes, you should be able to register right there. Maybe that'll help you a little bit better. Next question.
Great. The next question, you mentioned a lot about keywords and making your organization and yourself searchable. Do you have any recommendations for where a nonprofit should start with regards to identifying the right keywords for their mission?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's an easy one, luckily, for all of you guys, because lots of businesses spend tons of money on trying to figure out what their keywords are. Go to your web designer. Find out what meta tags and keywords they've baked into your website. If you have a good web designer, they probably at least can give you a start. And then start playing around. Go to Google and start playing around. Keywords for nonprofits, search engine keywords for nonprofits. See what comes up. There are probably combinations of words that you're not really familiar with. Go attend seminars on SEO. Specifically, if you can find SEO seminars for nonprofits, that's going to be great for you. Or listen in on webinars such as this. Or ask in your groups or ask your connections, what SEO keywords are you using in your profile for your company and your personal profile?
Great, thank you. Our next question, and it looks like our last question unless any others come in through chat, it has to do with groups. The question is, joining groups used to be recommended since it allowed you to send messages to those in the group even if you weren't connected to them. Is this still true?
Yeah, that is true. And it's a really good way to communicate with people without having to really connect with them. By using the group wisely, you can determine whether it's the right person you want to communicate with. And there's no expectation of communicating with somebody, no expectation of connecting with somebody after you've communicated with them in the group. But like I said, often you'll find people who share the same interest level, the same concerns, the same challenges you have, and you not only connect with them, but you take the conversation offline and you find a friend for life. So that really ends up being a really great way for you to meet people outside of your normal connection group.
Awesome. And with that, our Q&A is complete with 4 minutes to spare. So as a reminder to everyone on the line, today's recording of this webinar will be posted to nonprofitready.org within 24 hours. We'll be sending all participants a follow-up email with a link to this location once it's made available. Mark, thank you again for both of these presentations. They've really been helpful. As I said last time, I've definitely learned a lot. I know my organization has learned a lot. I hope everyone else that was in attendance was able to have some good takeaways. So again,
great.
Mark,
thanks everybody.
tip of the hat to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.